In your previous response, you mentioned SAIGE. So let's actually move the discussion on to SAIGE and the framework. And to give it a bit of context, we all understand from the discussions you've had and our readings of the many elements that need to exist in a framework. We need to couple the vision. We also need to couple the capability within the organization, the culture, the resources. We also need to couple the measurement of the AI. I was going to use a word too, but measure the AI in terms of what it's delivering, and then how to look at the AI, the responsibility issues. Not responsible AI, I'm just talking about the response of what it's delivering and whether it's delivering the right thing or not. And like any other technology too, is it delivering what it should be over the period of time that it should be? Have parameters changed or not? And obviously the more fundamental part, which is that the continuous improvement elements are also there. So what I'd like you to do is to just formalize this in terms of how the SAGE framework covers this.
The best starting point here is to talk about a high-level approach, and then we can sort of drill down into each area. So, one of the services that SAGE framework offers is like a diagnostics or like a readiness scan, which is no more than coming in and having a look across the organization, certain AI capabilities, what their maturity level is. Some of those that you already have touched upon, like for example, leadership and vision. What type of design, let's say, attitude one has around designing AI solutions that are probably very human or may not be human, depending on the particular use case. The business value that you touched upon. More importantly, perhaps the ROI. How does the ROI or the business case look like? Because most organizations, they put a lot of emphasis on use cases, but a lot of the use cases, they don't really deliver the ROI. And then to maybe go a bit more into then the type of talent, resources, culture, one of based on experimentation and sort of risk taking, to more to do with perhaps, the governance, because I did touch upon that AI can make mistakes and some of those can be catastrophic, which has huge implications for the brand value of organizations. So you need to have a governance model that mitigates those, let's say, AI solutions that potentially can cause some problems. So SAGE framework has about 18, you can say, capabilities or competencies where an evaluation is done. And the approach I have, which is quite interesting, is first of all, you need to identify the different stakeholders. And there's a politics around stakeholders in most organizations. Sure. Some stakeholders are not forthcoming, others are. And most stakeholders, they actually work in silos. So the end-to-end picture is actually missing. So the most important thing to do is, with the blessing of the C-suite, is to make sure that the right stakeholders are identified, where the AI use cases can be identified, which can bring value immediately, which is then connected to the corporate strategy. Absolutely. And gives shareholder value or is profitable to the organization and so forth. So that whole method of thinking and approach needs to be there in terms of stakeholders. Once stakeholders have been identified, then it's like a normal process of maybe observation or interviews. The framework has a huge repository. So if I take, for example, one of the first capabilities, which is leadership and vision, the SAGE framework comes with a huge repository. So it will look at, what type of questions to ask in order to ascertain the maturity of, let's say, leadership from the C-suite in order to drive AI initiatives, or what type of vision they have, which is very important because some organizations, they want AI to serve their employees and their customers. Others, they are in the replacement game. They just want to replace end-to-end everyone and do complete automation. So the framework, like I mentioned, comes with like a toolkit. So there is like a predefined RACI matrix. There is a number of tools, KPIs that have formulas, like for example, if it's to leadership and vision, how often is the vision statement, let's say, changed? Because AI is actually dramatically changing. Now, one can argue perhaps maybe the vision statement needs to be refined or may not need to be refined. So the framework is actually quite comprehensive, that allows one to then extract the necessary information to construct the AI as is landscape across the organization. And it will give you a scorecard of the 18 capabilities, a traffic light system. What is the maturity? So if it's green, then this capability you don't need to change. Or if it's amber, then this capability perhaps requires more, let's say, improvement. So for example, one of the capabilities is governance. And usually the governance mechanisms that most organizations they have in place is to do with legacy technology or digital technology, not really AI technology that can think, make mistakes, and it's not very transparent. It doesn't really explain itself. So you're not really sure why is it giving you the answer. It's giving you the right answer, but why is it giving you this answer? Is it reliable? Can it be trusted? And so forth. So you will get this scorecard. So if it's, let's say, red, then that means that capability is either missing or it needs a radical, overhaul. So from there, I can then sort of advise what the different areas of improvements are, what the different initiatives there need to be, and perhaps then the recommendations. So in a nutshell, that is the approach.